Vancouver, British Columbia, the most beautiful city in Canada, consistently ranked amongst the top 10 places to live in the world. Hosts of the 2010 Winter Olympics and home of the NHL's Vancouver Canucks. Also home to some of Canada's toughest mixed martial arts fighters and athletes today. We met up with Bruno Capdeville, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and professional MMA fighter who was training for an upcoming fight. Bruno was born in Lisbon, Portugal, the hidden gem of Europe, a country of 11 million with some of the nicest people on the planet and also having some of the best food in the world.
You know, people back home, they get so proud from seeing, yeah, he's fighting, I come from a small country, people get proud very easily, and that's good, I love it, I do that for them, for my students especially, I know my family, they don't like me fighting and getting beat up and cut, but, it's just what it is, I do it for fun, I do it for the skill, to show that I'm good at what I do, hopefully I can show that. And I love teaching too, I love students being proud of the professor, So once again, over, roll, once I come over, boom, get my lock, okay? And then from this position, I gotta adjust, okay? I got my lock here, put the pressure underneath the head and just adjust. Boom, done. Okay guys? So make sure you break his posture right away. Once you get a triangle, just clinch his head, right? To get his head and bring it all the way down, okay? Same time, I know jiu-jitsu inside out, right? That's my martial art, and I know how beneficial it is. The jiu-jitsu gi to the jiu-jitsu no gi. I know it's very beneficial. Honestly, it's like your steroids for jiu-jitsu, right? One complement each other so much, right? Because in one you're limited in your submissions, but it's a faster game. On the other one, it's a slower game, but you got so much fabric in between, it slows down your game, it becomes a way more technical game, you got way more submissions on the other side, so it becomes a whole different ball, right? So they complement each other so well because once you work your speed, your limitation in movement, and it becomes, you just gotta use your brain every time, right? So you need both for sure.
Next up was training with former Olympic Greco-Roman wrestler Colin Daynes, a powerful athlete bringing with him a wealth of knowledge about wrestling, conditioning, and focus.
Well, wrestling's a great base to have for mixed martial arts because you can control where the fight's going to take place. If things aren't going well on the feet, you get the takedown and take the fight to the ground. So, I think having that I won't say control, you know, you can't easily just take somebody down, but you know, definitely it's an advantage to help dictate where the fight's going to happen.
Today, Colin Daynes coaches fighters locally and internationally. He holds an undefeated record in MMA and may step into the cage once again.
I'm a big sort of task-oriented coach. I keep the fighter away from the emotional side of it. Sometimes when if you're just focused on the win, I always think process and not outcome. If you're focused on the outcome, like I want to win, that's all, I want to win this fight. The problem with that is when you're not winning, all you're thinking about out there is the fact that you're not winning, that you're losing, you're getting your ass kicked. So when you focus more on the strategy of it, when it's not going well, your mind immediately goes to what can I do to change this fight and start head it in my direction.
I think there's a study made like wrestling is actually the toughest sport on earth, right? And the only reason why it is because those guys they train the way they fight. And MMA I think came down to third just for the reason that you cannot train the way you fight because otherwise you never make it to the fighting phase, right? It's just way too hard. And what wrestlers do, that's basically it. Like they take the guy down, and wrestlers, it's so funny because you're such, especially American wrestlers, you're such a stereotype, right? You're all the short, stocky, with a big neck, right? You know, and then the super, like the very strong-minded people, right? Because they're training so hard, especially the ones that actually have succeeded, like they've been all-American, they've been somehow like they've won some kind of championships.
Today's MMA rules favor takedowns and top control. The rules also encourage stand-ups from stalled ground fighting. So a jiu-jitsu fighter who methodically fights from his back is always at a disadvantage in an MMA fight today. Today, you can win a fight with a few more jabs, leg kicks, and takedowns than your opponent. Fighting from your back has strategically been nullified as a position of advantage with today's MMA rules. It's ironic because all the champions of the original no points and no time limit MMA era were jiu-jitsu fighters.
A lot of people go there, they not go there to fight, they go there to win, right? I mean, in the end of the day, you know, like, once again, a lot of people, they call themselves martial artists, not everyone's call themselves fighters, right? I call myself a martial artist, but I'm going to a fight, right? I go there to fight, I go there to compete, to show my skill. I don't go there to hold back and win by points, right? Martial arts doesn't defend that, right?
After a morning run near beautiful Kitts Beach, Bruno sometimes gets a morning coffee before he hits the gym. It's a time to relax as the rest of the day is filled to the brim with something to do or somewhere to be.
Do you know I the Tiger?
Yeah.
And I'm just like going to the shop to get my car fixed, right? And then it just starts shadow boxing, you know, in the car, and just people just looking at me. I just got totally caught, right? You just got caught in a moment, you know, because it's something you do, you know, like you get all excited. I'm always shadow boxing. You're always thinking about fighting and stuff, you know. And all of a sudden you got people looking at you from the outside of the car thinking you were a weirdo. It's so embarrassing. It's funny.
The dedication, discipline, and sacrifice it takes to be an MMA fighter is incredible. Your average guy could never do this. While most striking is technical and knockouts are timed with precision, you can get a lucky knockout in a fight, but you can never get a lucky submission. Next, it was time to train with Bruno's jiu-jitsu coach, Bibiano Fernandes. A 5-time Brazilian jiu-jitsu world champion, 3-time Pan American champion, former Dream Bantamweight and Dream Featherweight MMA champion, and current ONE FC fighter. Bibiano is one of the most technical Brazilian jiu-jitsu and MMA fighters on the planet today.
Bibiano is a perfect example. Everyone goes on trains with the best and do this and do that. Bibiano Fernandes, I got so many guys that I trained with that for me, they had the quality to be champions. They never became champions. Till today, they're not. They haven't been champions. Bibiano Fernandes was a 5-time world champion, and everyone split up at the time when we're training, gym politics once again, and everyone goes their own way, like always, right? And Bibiano today is the only champion out of that gym, right? And once again, when you're a champion, you're a champion. You become a champion from whatever you are. I can be in China, become a champion, in India, become a champion. It doesn't really matter. People, they have the tendency to go and look for other people. Oh, I want to train with a champion to be a champion. No, a champion is always a champion. That's it. You're born with the heart or you don't. It's bottom line.
It's the best thing. Be good here, be good outside, and be good because people watch who you are, you know what I mean? And live your life with reason. We always say that for Bruno. For this, I really respect Bruno. He's a very good boy, very humble, and that's a big deal for me. I did jiu-jitsu when I was 16. I did jiu-jitsu. I watched Royce, and I said, wow, I want to be same this guy. But not because he is. Not because Royce, not because of the skill he has. You know what I mean? He's small, tiny guy, and UFC 1, 2, 3, he did good job there, and they win everything. And because for me, skill is very big thing. For me, I believe skill. I'm a small guy, but I train a lot of big guys, Yeah. And everyone uses big, right? And I believe the skill. You know what I mean? For sure, you need some training, improve yourself, be good, strong the mind, and discipline. That's the big thing. Go, Bruno.
You gotta give the props to the Gracie because the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a completely different ball game, right? It's a way more complex, way more complete martial art than just a traditional Jiu-Jitsu. They started off, they introduced Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the world, they brought it to the United States, they created UFC. You own everything, you basically owe everything to that family, right? They started it all. Look at UFC where it is right now, right?
Aí tu tá fazendo, tu faz aqui, aí tu joga aqui, aí tu joga aqui, tu faz isso, aí tu joga pro lado aqui, ó. Aí tu vem pro choke. Entendeu? E eu já faço diferente aqui, olha o que eu faço. Eu venho aqui, aí eu entro um, aí eu tento segurar o outro, aí eu venho em cima. Aí eu fico aí eu fechei o triângulo. Entendeu? Aí eu vou para o outro.
basically what I'm doing at Bibiano is I'm a fascia stretch therapy developed by Chris and Frederick, Special Institute in Phoenix. And they actually work on a lot of players, professional athletes from the NFL, NBA, UFC. So Frank Mir is one of their clients. They call him Charles Barkley and so forth. So basically what we're doing is we're lengthening the fascia, because as you get older, when you start training and so forth, the fascia gets a little bit tight. So fascia stretch therapy addresses this. And when you stretch the fascia, become more flexible, and the results are a lot longer lasting and quicker as well. So it helps athletes recover, and also helps them deal with pain from muscle tightness, and also helps increase their performance as well, with speed and so forth. So what I'm doing right now is kind of a prehab room, and also post recovery.
Back to the gym for some intense cardio training to push Bruno's endurance to the next level.
And I don't look for the point. I don't look that way. I look only move forward, because that's coming from me. I come for jiu-jitsu. Always I fight jiu-jitsu, always I try finish. And today maybe I can knock out the people. I did last fight, and I keep move forward.
Next up was Tony Pep, former Commonwealth and IBO lightweight and featherweight boxing champion. Tony once fought for the WBO title. He also fought a tough 12-round battle against Floyd Mayweather during his career. He now teaches and trains boxers and MMA fighters out of his own gym.
Again. And a right. Again. And a hook. Again. And a hook hand. Come back. And under. There's a hold. Right? She walks channel. Yeah, you can. Okay, do that again. See that? Boom. Right there. And then a fucking screaming right hook. Bang, bang. Right? Because you might catch that first one, but then it's the second one. And you always go the last punch. Good. 1, 2. Again. And a hook. Again. And a right. Again. Again. 1, 2. 1, 2 under. Again. Again. 1, 2. Under. Hook to the body. And right on top. Nice. 1, 2. Hook. Again. Right on my glove.
Yeah, I was fortunate in my life to meet Bibiano Fernandes and Bruno Capdeville, two very close friends of mine, and
those guys are like family to me now. I was introduced to them through the Revolution Fight Team. There's a place called The Fortress where I was lucky to be a part of them and their team at the time. And Bibiano became my sensei, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and
you know, you can train your body over and over again. You can turn it into a machine, but to find, you know, at the higher levels, I think the mental game is huge. It's what separates pretenders from the contenders. I think, you know, to have that mental edge, you know, because in fighting, when you get in those bad spots and your body wants to quit and your mind tells you to quit, but if you develop your mind to know that you can overcome anything, I think that's what separates a lot of guys. You know, some guys just know how to win. Right? And I think that's something you have to develop in your mind. And it's something that I try and train all the time, reading books. Over, you know, the more experience you get in the sport, I think you develop a better mental game. But you know, it's massive, the mental side of it, massive.
You can't always gauge a fighter's skill level by his win-loss record alone. It's a deceptive statistic that can be impacted by judges' decisions and promoters sometimes.
I think when you lose, you don't lose for the night, you lose forever. So, of course I'm scared. I'm just more scared of not giving my all, I think. You know, as long as I train my hardest and I give it my all in the ring or cage, I think I'm happy with that. But what I am scared of is not preparing right and not giving my all. And, you know, you never want to quit in a fight, right? Because it's something that you have to live with for the rest of your life. So.
Back in the cage to do some brutal MMA rounds in the Shark Tank with some of his team. Pushed on by MMA fighter Ashmesh Regi, there was no rest and no quarter for these tough fighters.
Fight it, get all back down.
away. Nice. Use that to get up. Create space to get up. Right to your feet. Right to your feet. Right to your feet. Good. Nice. Reset. Go. Right away. You're really on that. Get up. Really on that side. Get up. Dive. Go, right away. Go to the ball. Go. Walk around. 2 at a time. This one to fucking fight. Good job. Holy shit. Look at you in the ball's face.
And then you gotta see too how much weight you gotta lose, right? Some people lose 20 pounds, some people lose 10 pounds, some people only lose 5 pounds, right? So the cut becomes easier, and then it's a whole science behind of the losing weight, right? It's once again all depending fighter to fighter, and everyone gotta know their body, right? I like what works for me doesn't necessarily work for some other people, so it's a whole science, right?
Cutting weight to make a division has been happening for decades with fighters. It's a science that is hard on the body and only the strong can endure. Fighters can cut anywhere from 10 to 30 pounds just before a weigh-in, then gain most of it back the next day before the fight.
It's a real battle. You know, talk to anybody that cuts a decent amount of weight, and they'll tell you probably that's harder than the fight itself. So sometimes just getting down to it is the tricky part. You know, and then you have to be in great shape for it. Sometimes it's not a matter of if you can make the weight class or not. It's how you can perform after you make that weight cut. So,
$146 for Bruno Capdeville. And introducing his opponent, Nick Dreger. $146 for Nick Dreger.
Time for the pre-fight medicals and paperwork. Then eat some food and replenish fluids for the body. Today's MMA fighters are extremely well conditioned and constantly push their bodies to the limit.
I still gotta be myself in the ring the way I train. If I can be myself in the ring the day if I can beat that guy one day, things will look really good for me, right? But I think it takes time, right? But I feel I feel really comfortable, but I gotta just loosen up completely in the ring, right? Nerves sometimes take the best out of you, And when you fight a guy that is so, you can always overcome. When you fight a guy that is good, which all the guys that fight are good, right? So sometimes it's hard, but she's studying all the nutrition stuff. Yeah, she's very good. She works with everything.
You know, in North America, like people they look at fighters like gladiators, right? In Japan, they look at fighters like gods, right? Like they look at something that they cannot accomplish, right? Like I've been in Japan many times, and I came into the room with my professor, and everyone was following us, right? I can hear, and I go anywhere, people fucking promoters don't even pay you. I don't do this. I don't. They have no respect for you. In Japan, like I go to the hotel, like they open the door like 150 times.
But to be honest, I'm more nervous than when I fight because I can control when I'm fighting, but I can't fight the fight for my fighter. So inside, I get pretty nervous. I do. I'm not gonna lie, but I try to stay as relaxed as I can and speak with a calm voice, and have a cool demeanor because I think that rubs off. But again, I'm not the one actually physically fighting, so. And also, the guys I corner are guys that are close to me, and I want them to do the best they can and not get hurt and be successful. So, it's always quite the roller coaster inside for me, for sure. But
Fight night. Backstage. It's time to focus. It's time to fight. The fans are energized as they enter the arena.
Really dynamic. 1, 2, 3, 4. Arm in the throat. Press his head down.
Two more fights and
Nice. There you go. Whether it be before the fight or in between rounds, I'm just trying to keep him calm, keep him focused on what he has to do. Performing in sports is, there's a huge mental aspect of it, and some guys come physically prepared, and then, if they can't handle it mentally, everything breaks down and the fight goes out the window.
Nobody can beat you, only you can beat yourself. Because same as at the beginning, you can do heavy training and training hard, and it doesn't matter, you training hard, you party, some people party hard too, me for this you need the balance. But for me not, I'm training hard and I training hard and I training hard. I'm a very disciplined guy and I respect people, and always I look up for another person, and I respect my coach, and because I believe You always have to look up to somebody. That's the way you can keep the battle.
It was a long walk to the cage. All the blood, sweat, and tears from training. It came down to this. Anybody that has the balls to take this walk deserves ultimate respect. It does not matter if you win or lose.
Introducing Bruno Capdeville.
It was an adrenaline rush, and the atmosphere was electric. But just as fast as the fight began, it was over.
Great, I know this was a tough opponent, so it's awesome. Great win for me. I needed that win. Thank you. Thank you.
Big win. Very nice.
Fucking love it. That's why I fight.